everyone. Welcome to the Bridge Book Club 2023 Intermissive Course with the author Tathiana Mota. Today, it's 11 November, and we are going to discuss two chapters. Test 7, that is self-pacifying parapsychism, and Test 8, existential program. So just to remind everyone that we are recording, and now I can hand it to Tathiana.
Thank you, Magali. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are well, and let's go to the next chapters. So as Magali said, today we are doing the self-pacifying parapsychism, which is mainly related to the self-development of your energies to develop your parapsychism and your signals, right? And also I discussed a little as well about the intrusion freeness, which is something that we hope to achieve in this lifetime. And I want to hear from you guys as well, your thoughts on this. And chapter 8, which is existential program. There's a lot of topics we can discuss about the existential program, and I wanted to hear from you guys as well. But now, before we start, I want to ask you about the intermission from last time, the homework. Did you do any experiments? Did you have any experiences that you want to share? No one? Very, very bad students.
I'm happy to. If nobody else wants to talk, I'm happy to talk. We're the goody two shoes here, students. No, I did. So I found the exercise just to take that time. It's nice to have that reminder, right? To have that prompt, just to spend some time focused on a topic that kind of floats around in the back of my mind from time to time, but to actually sit down and really take stock is good, right? To do that in between. So existential program. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I suppose I noticed that I had 3 areas that ever since I've been doing like ECP1 or moments when I've been reflecting on my existential program, they're the same domains that have kept coming forward, which is family life, like sort of relationships and family life, I guess ego and group karma, my professional life in the space of indigenous people and indigenous rights, and consciousness. Like that's been kind of a theme that I've felt really clear on for a long time. But I had a few, reflecting on it now, I tweaked a few, like I've noticed a few expectations that I had when I was younger that sort of shifted, or my understanding of certain points has shifted over the years. And one reflection I had is, so I've been like, these are all domains that of my life experience, right? These are things that I live on, like they're part of my life every day in different ways. But I was thinking about, what am I actually doing? What am I actually leaving as a I suppose a legacy, but something that's there after I de-soma, right? In any of those areas. And the main thing that comes to mind that has that capacity is books, right? Books seems to have that ability to be something that we leave behind for other people. But I don't know. I just feel I've been pondering whether there is anything else that that might meet that criteria. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's an interesting exercise to reflect on these, because otherwise we just live our lives and then we just don't actually know. For example, if I die today, what is done, what isn't done, right? We don't know when we are gonna die, so it could happen now, tomorrow. So if I die today, what is the balance of this life? What have I done? What I have achieved? What I didn't do? So it's always good to think about that, because we are aware of the clauses of our praxis, right? But who else was going to talk about the experiment?
I can go next. So, yeah, I did my homework this month, and there were a couple of things that I guess jumped out at me and called my attention from the first two chapters. So the first one was this concept of permanent freeness and what I still need to work on to get there, you know. And when I was doing the exercise related to my pro-exit, there was this theme that came up about so it starts with self de-intrusion, right? And that was a huge focus up to a certain point in my life. And don't get me wrong, I'm still working on self de-intrusion, but there was also a perceptible shift into also hetero de-intrusion later on in my life. And there was a statement in the book that says hetero de-intrusion begins with the mediation of interconsciential conflicts. And that kind of stood out to me because in recent years, some of the themes that have been coming up for me in my self-research and focus on pro-access is this theme about mediation, diplomacy, these kinds of things, and kind of like the experiences I'm having in my workplace and in personal life and everything are all kind of related to these themes as well. So yeah, I thought that was a really interesting tie-in between the two chapters.
Lovely. Anyone else?
I can go. I have similar thing with Michiko because I've been to the event in Frankfurt, and I start to see that I had to work in my parapsychism, that I let it, I let it there. Is almost like a trafal, a trait that is missing, a missing trait. So not because I don't have parapsychism, but I don't use that more with that idea, more connected with that idea. So what I put some goals for me, and that is about serenity. And with all the knowledge that I already know I have, seems that I'm in the point that I can achieve. And then when I read in the book that about 3 years, and I said, with the good techniques, and if you invest yourself, because there is many things like internal conflicts, like Michiko was saying, that if we we can work that out, with consciometry, with ourselves, with all the techniques we have, we can achieve. So I perceive already a big change in me, and I think I have more hope in being intrusion free in this life. So
that's awesome. Great experience. You know, the consciential tree endowment, the three main traits that we all need to just have a think and see which ones are more developed. So it's always good to think, and usually when people, like not everyone, but many of the people I talk about this, they say, oh, it's definitely communication or what is intellectuality,
Intellectuality.
not parapsychism, right? So maybe it's something that we all as a group need to develop more. But Miki wanted to say something. She raised her hand.
I just wanted to say that this past month I was confronted with so many thoughts about inner pacifism because I was triggered somehow very deeply by this war in Middle East, and I realized that I had so many ups and downs with this war, and I start to remember many lives, past lives I had as a Muslim, but also in the same time I know that I was very connected with the Nazis and the Jews also, and for so many times I started to cry with no reason in relation with this war, and I had this sensation that my people are going to be hurt. And one moment I realized that all of them are my people, and it was like I was in a turmoil for this past month. Yeah, it wasn't easy for me to get inner peace, but well, for 1 week, 2 weeks, I managed somehow to do some inner reconciliation and to see things from another perspective. For me, it was an amazing month. Thank you.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, you're not alone. It's been pretty tough energetically to everyone, I guess. It's really, really sad and really complicated, right? Especially when you know you are involved, you have, a relation to that group. So, yeah, it's time for intrusion freeness, right? Work with our energies and do our best to help, but not be too affected, which doesn't help either, right?
It wasn't easy because I know that I had connection with two parties, and it was not so easy in the beginning to be in harmony and to be equidistant. Yeah. It's different when when you know that both of them are your people.
Exactly. Yeah. Very good. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else wants to talk about the experience? Okay, so let's go ahead. Did you guys read the chapters? Yes. So we are going to start with the self-pacifying parapsychism. And when I was reading the chapter now and thinking about our discussions throughout the year and the ideas we exchanged and all that, I started to think about, the level, the quality of this group that we are, experiencing together. And I wanted to bring this theme, this idea of permanent intrusion freeness for us to talk about. And one thing that I thought was, when we think about our proexis, we think about parapsychism, and we probably as intermissivists, we understand the importance of parapsychism. We value parapsychism, otherwise we wouldn't end up in conscientiology probably. But how do we, in our everyday lives implement or live or experience our parapsychism? So there are two things that I wanted to comment your ideas on. The first one is, what are your personal goals in terms of parapsychism? What do you think, like, if you came to the end of your life and you could achieve what you wanted to be in terms of parapsychism, to be a parapsychic person, what would you be achieving? How do you see yourself? What would you be doing with this parapsychism? How would you be implementing these skills in your life? And this is one question. And the second question is, what kinds of fears do you have in terms of parapsychism that you maybe that this might prevent you from fully experimenting phenomena? No one?
I don't understand this fear you are talking about when it's related with our out-of-body experiences and with our parapsychism. I don't have this in my thoughts, so to speak, because
I can
I
give
know
you one of my experience, maybe can help. That is, sometimes sterilized energy in some place or for some people. And I already got sometimes big concepts with me. And that was really disrupt my day and disrupt for several days. And then I saw that I didn't have the enough energy or enough consensual hygiene to do the work. And so I sat back. Is that how you say it? I sat back a little because of that. That is that becomes a little fear of me for me.
But I wonder if, I don't know, in my case, I think that our helpers don't push us to strange situation to be depleted by our energies. As in some strange experiences I had in extra-physical dimension, when the energy started to become very dense and or intrusive, or it was like it was forbidden for me. And as far as I know, I can never do something if I'm not ready and or prepared for it. I mean, I have never come back being depleted by energy, but this is my experience. I had it's so interesting because 2 days ago in the morning I had an experience, and it was during my penta, and I found myself being in some kind of a prison. And yeah, it was interesting that I started to do some exchange of energies over there. And in the same time, one moment I saw a friend of mine trying to be there in that prison, and everybody was worried that maybe he couldn't cope with the energies over there. And after that, I received another lesson from my helpers about how each of us is good in different ways, and our energies are used in different purposes by our helpers. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think there are two situations. Obviously, every person is different while dealing with their own parapsychism. But there is one interesting thing when we talk about proexis, is that praxis is not theoretical, right? It's practical. The theory was when you were in the extra-physical dimension preparing this life. Then we were planning and doing a lot of theory and all that. But once we are born and we are here, the praxis needs to be practical, right? And in order to overcome our difficulties and develop other skills and evolve, we have to sometimes step out of our comfort zone. So we have levels of experiences in our lives that at certain moments in our lives, we just need to, do something that we haven't done before. Experiment some things that we haven't experimented before. So when this happens, we are dealing with situations that are new and that might impact our balance somehow, because we are just not used to it. It's just a new experience. So the helpers will allow us to experience some things that are new to us in order to help us evolve, right? And how we deal with these new situations depend on our temperament, on our the way we deal with new things, if we are open to new experiences or not, if we are like more controlling kind of person. So what will give the pressure of experimenting new things is the way we are going to deal with them. But the helpers, yes, they will open, let's say, the gates a little more so we can go a little more like outside and sniff around and see what's going on. And when we come back to our reality, we probably will have the impact of that interaction. It could be an interaction with a sick consciousness. It could be an interaction with an environment that we are not used to. Different experience in our penta that we have never experienced before, or any other kind of situation that we are exposed, but that will teach us, give us some lessons to develop our skills, right? Cool. Anyone else? So how do you see yourselves, guys? As like elderly, parapsychic, intrusion-free people? What is your like dream or goal, or how do you don't think now about the work you have to do to get there, but how would you be like happy getting in the end of your life having these skills? What kind of skills, parapsychic skills, do you think you would be like fulfilled in terms of parapsychism?
I can say some words maybe. I think in my case, what I can envision in terms of parapsychism is the use of parapsychism interconnected with the intellectuality to produce, to write in and produce things, intellectual things, I think. This is how I see I could like put these two things in a synergistic way. And one subject that I have thought a lot in the last couple of months is about the urbanization. And so I think there is a lot of things that I could bring to contribute in this subject. And I think the way to do this would be like use the parapsychism to support my intellectual production. GESCOM, I don't know the name in English. Yeah,
I
this
think
is
it's GESCON, isn't it? Consensual gestations. I think we say GESCON as well.
yeah, okay,
I
yeah.
think it's the same.
Yeah, this is for me is the challenge, is the next step in my in my the evident next step in my life, I think. And yeah, in general, what I can think in terms of parapsychism and how I could see myself using parapsychism in this life is like interconnected with intellectual production somehow. Uh, and the other question that you made about the fears or things like that I could say, it's not a fear, but it's like a limitation or a kind of a restriction that I have, is especially because I remember I had one experience this month, and I realized that it already happened sometimes before, because I don't have many projectability, but there was some situation, and this month it happened again, when I realized that I am not in my base, not my base. I like feel like a mix of emotions and excitement at the same times. At the same time that it makes me go back to the body, and this is so frustrating somehow, because I think that I could take more from that experience, but when I realize that it's happening, I automatically back to the body. So it's so strange, so weird how to overcome this, because it seems like for me that I am losing something because of this kind of excitement, because of the experience per se. So this is the two things that I was thinking about your question.
Interesting, Felipe. And I would say that myself, this would be one of my goals as well. You know, when I grow old and I am able to connect my intellectuality to my parapsychism,
Exactly.
and this would be like probably you know, a boom in, you know, my productivity and the quality of what I write and what I research. And the same thing with the fear, you know, it's really frustrating when you are just out of your body and the emotions take over and you just abort the experiment. One thing that could help maybe is just like think and plan everything you can do once this happens. So you sort of like do some little drills, you know, like some practice in your head, what would happen and what you would do to prevent you from going back into your body. So you practice that in your mind so many times that once you are there, you are aware of what you need to do. Maybe you can just focus somewhere else, and when you notice that, you just think, oh, let me focus ahead and see what's around me, or something. You have to find a good way to help yourself deal with that excitement and you know, the emotions that have to do with the experience. And
Yeah,
it's the psychosoma, right?
yeah, what I'm trying to do is like you said, it create like a vision that I feel more comfortable to be in in a altitude, so somewhere in
Yeah,
the altitude, because this is like a automatic extinct to
exactly.
back to the base.
Yeah, maybe focus in a little thing like let me look at my para hand, and you look at it and you focus on that, and then this might help you, you know, calm down and just observe something very specific. And then it helps you change the focus, and then you might be able to gain more balance in that situation. But you have to find something that might help you with your focus at that moment. Otherwise, the psychosoma takes over, and then you are back into your body again.
Yeah,
This happens.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. Anyone else, guys?
I mean, the only other thing that the thing that struck me thinking about parapsychism is that when I first discovered it, in a way, I guess I just wanted a lot of phenomena because I wanted to prove things to myself. I was really keen to perceive consciexes and to have out-of-body experiences, but just for the sake of their own kind of sake. And when I think about it now, I think my main goal is really basically for serenity, right? And developing inner peace through seeing the bigger picture. So through perceiving dynamics from a multi-existential kind of way, and from understanding my life trajectory from that perspective as well, in a kind of embodied way, right, rather than just an idea. And the other thing is to have a much better I spent many years in my life perceiving spaces or people energetically, like having a lot of instant insights, and then doubting and questioning, and, for example, perceiving that, say, a particular person, there was something off on the energy, and then overriding that because I didn't want to judge them, or I wanted to be nice, and then later on regretting that I didn't have clearer boundaries. So to just really live from a trust of my perceptions and act on them without the sort of social conditioning around them.
That's really interesting, Kim. You see, everyone's comments and experiences and ideas, they bring different layers of parapsychism. So it's not just a matter of like having parapsychism and perceiving the energies and that's it. It's not something that you conquer and it's done. There are like levels and levels of complexity that it's not simple, right? And everyone has parapsychism, right? Everyone, even those who don't even know about it. But for us as intermissivists, it's worth reflecting on where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve in this lifetime in terms of parapsychism? And what can I do to get to that point? Otherwise, we're just thinking about, oh, I want to perceive the energies, I want to have parapsychism, I want to have an out-of-body experience. But why and how do my way of thinking and experiencing life affects this development, right? Okay, who wants to comment?
I thought what Felipe said also resonated with me, but there is another thing that I want to open an astrophysics office, a real one. It's like I do here in the introphysics, that I help people as a psychologist, but I want to have this level of parapsychism that I can open an office in the astrophysical, so I can work both introphysical and astrophysical. So I will have this layer that Kim was saying, the clarity of what is happening, why I'm encounter this person, and then what happened there, and what is happening astrophysical. I can also help her and her group karma and my group karma, and I think that is another thing I would like to achieve.
That's awesome, Magali. The helpers are listening. You guys were talking and I was thinking here about the investment from the helpers in us, intermissivists. Because, think about your life and your investments. You're going to invest your money in things that you know you're going to be able to get something back, right? You're not it's not a donation of money, it's an investment, right? So the same thing with the helpers. So why have we got the possibility to do an intermissive course? Why do we have the assets and the contributions that we've had in this lifetime to execute our praxis? Even though the world is going crazy at the moment, you know, we are in a pretty safe space if you look throughout our lives, where we have tons of possibilities that we have never had before, just like this meeting here, for example, right? We are interacting with people everywhere at the same time and exchanging ideas. And you know, maybe it's a good moment for us to think, what are the contributions we have in our lives, what we have received, what are the assets that we've got, and what we could do with that, because there are some things that maybe we don't even touch, we haven't even touched yet, in terms of, you know, all the knowledge we have, all the experiences we've got, and the skills we have. And that's why the helpers are investing in us. So when Felipe says, oh, I have these out-of-body experiences, and then I go back to my body because of my emotions, you know, probably there are helpers investing in you to have these experiences. Why are they doing that? You know? So these are the things we need to, you know, have a think in our lives, in our everyday lives, how we can achieve a better level of efficiency in everything that we do using these assets. I don't know if this makes sense, guys.
No, for me, it makes a lot of sense. And this kind of situation for me is interesting because I see myself in the last, I don't know, 10 or 15 years, too involved in the academia and the conventional science, that this kind of experience when it happens is likely to open my eyes and look, you are going well, but you are not doing what you are supposed to do. So there is something more that you have to pay attention. And one thing that I was thinking about this last month is about the how can I say this in English? Well, the reborn of new consciousness in the earth, and in this proportion of intraphysical and extraphysical consciousness, and these kind of things. And then I start to realize that even the conventional science start to give us some ideas about the universe, about how big is the universe, how many planets you have around the universe, and how the same physical and biological background and framework are operating in all the universe. So this, when you put this, even this conventional science in play, and you think about the theory that the conscientiology bring to us, it starts to make sense, even if you think about these things that the conventional science is already showing us in terms of universe, how big is the universe, how the physical and chemical framework is the same operating in different planets. And this is so interesting. And these kind of things start to happen to me. I think it's just to open my eyes that look, you should not be so restricted to your conventional science. You are not here for this. That's my thought in general.
Yeah. Again, it's an investment, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you should have something that they need. So that's why they are helping you. They want to help you connect your parapsychism to all the knowledge that you have developed throughout your life, so you can produce something else, right?
It's like wake up.
And we want to read. We are waiting because we want to read, Felipe.
Oh yeah,
Yes, me too. I'm so curious to
No,
read your
and,
stuff.
yeah, and I reach a point in life that I have no other way to run. So there's no other way to run. I cannot postpone this project anymore, because it's like okay, it's time now, and I'm start to feel uncomfortable with this every day, every day. So it's interesting, because it makes me put in my schedule the production, the writing, for in terms of connection between what I know, the background, human evolution, and conscientiology. So it's already in my schedule, physical schedule. So I don't have any more time to run.
I get it. I know what you mean. Okay, guys, cool. Let's go ahead. So now I wanted to do share with you guys a case study, so we can have some interesting discussions. And I will first, let me share with you guys. Hold on. I'm gonna share my screen with this slide. So you probably have seen that. If you have seen that, it's we are just going to read real quick and recap, right? So this is the group karmic course. Have you all read about it and seen it? The stages we go through once we are evolving? Yes? Okay, so I'm going to talk really quickly about each one of these. So this is the one theory that Dr. Valdo Vieira created in terms of the course in terms of root, right? The root, the flow, the course of this group karmic evolution. So the first stage he talks about is the interprison. So the interprison is when the consciousness is very immature, like a reurbanized consciousness, for example, that thinks that they are living absolute truths. Everything they do is right. They never do anything wrong. So a lot of egocentrism. So, for example, wars, genocides, all these horrible things have to do with consciousnesses who are in this level of evolution in the group karmic course, right? The second stage is called victimization. So in this stage, the person starts to question, maybe what I did is not right, or was this the best decision that I could have done? And in this moment, they become victims. Many things that they did in the past while they were in stage 1 comes back to them now in stage 2. So the groups from the past come back, and they come to them. They don't want to let them go. And this period of victimization can take many lives. So many of us have been through this stage a lot, like throughout many lives before we came actually to the Intermissive Course. Then we go to stage 3, which is recomposition. So at this stage, the consciousness is more aware of the things they have done wrong, there is a higher level of discernment. So they know what they did wrong. They feel guilty or shame, and they want to fix it up. So if they did something with a group, they want to try to assist that group, help somehow, help the victims they made in the past. And we have this this sentence that we always say: we are unteaching what we have taught wrong in the past. So we are trying to set a good example, because we know we did mess things up in the past, right? And in this stage 3, it's like the Sisyphus period. Do you know about Sisyphus? Yes? So that the idea of that king that was forever taking the rock up the hill, and when he was almost getting up there, the rock would fall down and he would have to take all the way, roll it up again. So it was the curse he had to be doing this forever, right? So it feels like that. Sometimes you are just doing things and you need persistence to, you know, to make things happen. And then we get to stage 4, which is liberation. You finally see the light in the end of the tunnel. You have periods of less intrusion, because before, in the previous stage, we were like really intruded because of all of your past. And in this stage, you have periods of lower levels of intrusion. You can breathe. You have some breathing periods. And you start being free from egocentrism. And then we have stage 5, which is polycarmality. So at this stage, the person does not request things for themselves, and there is no such thing as pain anymore. Can you imagine that? No pain. Everything is just an experience and assistance and holomaturity, discernment. So we start to achieve these levels of polycarmality only like after you start being intrusion free permanently. And obviously these stages, they come and go in our evolution. So Professor Valdo says that the average of time that we spend to go through all these stages is around 7.5 centuries. So this is what has taken for us to get to this point. But if you look at your lives, if you think about your lives, you might have been in stage 4 or stage 3 or stage 5 in periods of your life, this life, right? For example, when I was living in Brazil, in Foz do Iguaçu, I was experiencing more levels of stage 5, 4, 5. When I moved to Australia, I experienced stage 4, stage 3, stage 2, stage 5. So different levels, because I expose myself to other levels of interaction in my group karma, right? So having this in mind, let me stop sharing here real quick. Okay, cool. We are going to do a breakout room. And what we are going to do is, I'm going to give you now a case study, and hypothetical case study, okay? So we're going to talk about someone called Kate. Let's say her name is Kate, okay? So take notes, make your notes there. Open a file on your computer, or grab a piece of paper and pen, because you're going to be discussing about this, okay? So Kate, she was born in the early 1800s, okay? let's say 1810, 1815. That's where she lived. And Kate was, she was born in a family with 2 sisters and her. She was the oldest daughter. Her family was pretty balanced. Her parents, her father was a journalist and writer, and they were like middle class, good education. And as for herself, she was a very talented girl, cultured, and she liked music, she liked to write. She was pretty intelligent. And when she was around 19 years old, she met this boy, this guy, and they fell in love. And they got married. They eventually got married. It was a pretty happy relationship. They were in love. They had lots of affinities, and her husband was a writer as well. He was a writer as well, and he was a journalist, and he started writing all kinds of stuff in the newspaper, and then write books. And she really supported her husband. She supported him. He was very dedicated to his writings, and she was very supportive. And he started writing books. His books started to be very well accepted, and he started to become famous. So even though she was a novelist too, she was a writer, she was a novelist, she was sort of like giving him full support. So she helped him. She traveled with him because he started traveling a lot because of his books. She was a great travel company, according to him. She was helping him throughout the tour. Sometimes they would spend weeks and weeks on tours because of his books. And she also performed as an actress. She was pretty talented. And then she published one book. This book was a cookery book. She published a cookery book with recipes and stuff. And then she started having babies. She had one baby, and then she had another baby, and then she had another baby, and another baby, and another baby, and another baby, and another baby. She had 10 kids. Okay? She had 10 kids. And then, meanwhile, while she was having these kids and taking care of these kids, her husband became a celebrity. He became a celebrity with all this, his production, his books. And even though she supported him, she had all these kids to take care of, right? And he traveled a lot. She couldn't travel with him many times because of the family. And after years and years, her husband he was very famous. He started having many affairs, and he eventually wanted to get divorced. He kept the children. They got divorced. Remember, this is the 1800s, okay? This story I'm creating here is in the 1800s. So they eventually got divorced. Kate, from that point on, was ostracized. She just lived a solitary life till her death. And that was it. Okay? This is the story. Good. So Do you have any questions about this? Did you understand the plot? Yeah? Okay, cool. So what are you gonna do now? We are going to go to breakout rooms and you are going to discuss the following, okay? Let's think that she, in the end of her life, she died, right? She went to its extra physical dimension. She started reflecting on her life, her previous life, and she made her, her reflections on that. And what you're going to discuss is, first, what is one positive aspect of this life Kate had? Second, what is one negative aspect of this life that she had? Okay? These are the first two things. Third question, in what group karmic stage do you think she was in that life? You know, out of those 5 group karmic stages that we just talked about, which one do you think she was in that life? And last question is, let's consider she had a proexis, right? Let's consider. Do you think she completed her proexis? Why or why not? Okay, so I'm going to say again what you are going to discuss in groups. First, one positive aspect of her life and one negative aspect. Second, which group karmic stage was she, in your opinion, the group opinion, right? And 3, did she complete her proexis? Yes or no? And why not, right? Okay. Do you
Can I
have
just
any
ask yes, I do have a question, Tathiana. With the first two, what is one positive aspect? Are we, I don't know if it makes any difference, but in my mind, it's like, are we looking at it from her point of view? Like as if we had just deactivated the body and we are going through the post-life review?
Now let's
Or sort of an objective observer?
analyze her situation as her colleagues. We are in the extra physical dimension. We are we have more lucidity, right? We are more lucid, aware. Let's say we are in the Intermissive Course and we are having these group discussions just like we are now here, but studying this case. So what would we, with our knowledge, with our experience, how would we analyze that situation and see what was positive and negative about that life? I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about the life she had, okay? It could be the zeitgeist, the time, or the life she had, not like herself,
Okay.
good and bad traits that she had, but one positive, one negative aspect of her life as a whole. Okay? Okay, guys, I want to hear from you. We are going to have 10 minutes to discuss, and I want to know from you guys, what are your answers to the questions?
Positive aspect. Hello?
Hey,
One positive aspect. Hello. One positive aspect, she was supportive to the husband.
And also she write a book for other women to have better skills in cooking. she impacted some other women's life. This could be a positive aspect.
Okay,
She was
good.
supported, and she was supported, and her family was balanced, and she was able to get an education during that time as a woman.
Anything else? No? And what are the negative?
No, I would say that depending on her relationship with the children that she had, it could be a positive or negative aspect. But yeah, in the end,
Oh no.
yeah, we don't know. But in the end, the husband took all the children from her. So it's, yeah, we don't know exactly what was the balance, the end balance of this relationship.
Yeah, true. And the negatives, guys.
Oh, in the group we were discussing, and she left her life just to take care of her husband and children. So she was so talented, and she forget herself, to do something more.
Lack of contraception. They didn't really have contraception back in those days. Which actually there's a slight hole in the story, because how did she not become pregnant until after they had this first period? But yeah.
True. Any other negative aspects that you guys...
Gender roles, the expectations of gender roles in that time.
Yeah.
The fact that she was ostracized by society.
Yeah.
Lost her children also.
Yeah. Cool. And the next question, which stage of the group karmic course is she, you think? Do you want me to share? You have this, right? You have the list. Okay. Guys, I don't know the answer, okay? There is no right or wrong. We are just doing an exercise.
Yeah, I would say that she is navigating at least between the 2 and 3, but especially the 2, because of how she ended her life. And probably after her life, she would find herself in the stage 2, probably. It depends on how she reacted to all this situation.
Yeah, it seems like it, right? She's in these levels. Unless she's like a Serenissimus, then this was nothing, no pain, right? This was nothing to her. She was there just to assist the group karma.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as a mere immortal like us, I think probably 2 or 3, right? Does anybody disagree with that? No? Yeah, sort of, yeah, those levels, right? And the last question, what was my last question? Oh my. Let me look at my stuff.
Proexis. She completed her proexis.
Did she?
I think not. Nikki raised something really important, because she said, you want to say, Nikki, about the 800, what she could do? Because in this time, few women have an education, might write very well, and she was talented, and she could have written books for changing that generation, help that generation of women, and she didn't. She didn't use her talent.
Yeah, it looks like it, right? Yeah, looks like it. I agree. Anyone has any other ideas about her praxis? Any thoughts? Okay, cool. All right, now we are going back to breakout rooms, okay? And we are going to do a second discussion, okay? Let's imagine that Kate is now, she had that life, she died, she went to extra-physical dimension, reorganized her praxis, he replanned, and she was born, and now she's in 2023, okay? She's now in 2023, living this life. And now what you're going to do is discuss first what these times, the current times that we live now, could offer to Kate in terms of contributions to her praxis, okay? What you know, the current zeitgeist, what the current times that we live in now could offer in terms of contributions to her praxis, having into consideration her last life, okay? Second thing you're going to do is tell me one main priority that she needs to do, to have, as a prophylaxis to self-mimesis, as a prophylaxis for her not to do what we did in the last time, okay? So what is the main priority that she could have? And the last question is, what is one trap that she could fall into again if she's not aware of? All right? What is something that she could be aware of, or otherwise it could be a trap in her praxis that she could fall and not do her praxis again? All right? Questions? All right, so 10 more minutes.
She still have 10 children in this life.
I don't know. I didn't think about that. Let's imagine she was just born in a few years ago, okay? Oh, I'm so worried because we have a few minutes only. And I want to chat so much about this. I want to hear you guys. Quickly. Okay, good. So what do we have in these times that could help her as contributions to her praxis, guys? Nothing.
Speed contributions, everybody. Zoom calls. She can, yes, connectivity, global connectivity, right? She can connect with people anywhere. She can publish her writing in an instant.
Yeah, this is
Many different
amazing.
publishing opportunities, access to
Men
all the
and women are
Access to
equally.
information. Mm.
What is it? Men and
Oh,
women.
I think Magali said men and women are more equal. And I was saying she has more access to information.
Definitely. Yeah, much more, right? Much more. Yeah, she could be like, nowadays she could be an influencer with her 10 kids at home, and she could be accessing millions of people, right? Okay, good. Pamela in my group talked about parapsychism. how the access to, you know, all this knowledge and tools to help her be in tune with her praxis, which I think it was very interesting point. But anything else?
Maria said also, Maria, can you share? Conscientiology, right? And Invex.
Oh, I thought she would have the opportunity to discover conscienciology and be more lucid about her proexis and be a completist. Yeah, so
Yeah.
she would be more aware of everything if she would be able to find conscienciology, which is available.
Yeah, this is a game changer in our lives, I guess, right,
Yeah.
guys? Believe me. Yeah. And did any of you guys think, I asked this in our group, that she could have been born as a man in this life?
Yeah, but you said she was born a Kate again, a girl again, so.
Good. And priority, what is the main priority in your opinion that she could have? Not to do the same thing again.
No, I think because she was so talented in the past, I think she could have in her paragenetics the ability to write, and so she could now write some more technical things, not cookbook, but something more important in terms of assistance, this kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Any other priorities?
She could be able to focus on herself, not in the social conditioning. We spoke about this social conditioning which she had at that time. Now she could be able to be aware of this and focus on self-investigation.
Perfect. I totally agree. And the trap. What could be a trap in her life?
Follow in love again and have lots of children. So we are talking about in order to do the prophylaxis of that she could be born in a culture that doesn't, you know, incentivize those kind of things, like in America or in Europe, not in South America, for example, or in other countries that they incentivize to have children, lots of children.
Yes. Can you imagine if she was born in a Muslim country where she would just like have to do the same thing, live for the family, for the kids? Yeah. So this would be a problem, right? In our group, we talked about a lot about lack of self-esteem. She probably would have problems with self-esteem or showing her potential because of what happened in her previous lives. And I thought that maybe she would have the syndrome of the imposter syndrome, because even though she has all the knowledge and talents, she probably would have some sort of trauma from this past life, and she wouldn't be like confident to actually produce and create and show herself, because she was always the shadow of her husband, right? So maybe this would be something that she would need to be aware of and take care. Any other?
Fernandez was saying something about Fernandez, do you want to share about her being an actress as well?
What did I say?
About her being an actress.
That maybe she has this artistic vein that might be a trap as well, yeah.
Okay, yeah. You know, when you are like really repressing something on one side. When you open to the other side, it might be like an extreme. This could actually be something that she would need to be aware of, definitely. Guys, we don't have time anymore. Let me just share my screen with you guys with the last thing. Okay, this person exists. It's a real person. That's her. Have you ever seen this?
Is that
person?
you?
No. No, doesn't look like. So this is Kate. Her name is Catherine. Her name is Catherine Dickens. She is Charles Dickens' wife. It's a pretty interesting biography to study. And the story I gave to you guys is a summary of her story. There she is, and when she was old, long after she was divorced. And here's her with him. In this picture, he is older already. He got married with another girl. And her kids, he didn't allow her kids to see her anymore. Only the older kid stayed with her, but all the other kids didn't see her anymore. So he did a big favor. He, on top of everything, he just did what nowadays would be a post on Facebook saying like she was a horrible person. So so her biography was just like fixed with this situation that happened, and that was it. So it's pretty interesting. I wanted to share with you guys in terms of praxis for us to have a discussion. Have you ever heard her story or no?
His
Okay.
story only, his story, his success. Yes.
Yeah.
His books.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Not,
of course.
Not about her. Not about her. No.
Who hadn't heard about him, right?
Yeah.
Who hadn't? Okay, cool. Let me, oh, not this one, sorry. Let me show you the intermission for next meeting, which is still this month, right, Kim and Magali?
Yeah, we're having another one this month, so we can wrap up before Christmas.
All right, guys. So for our next meeting, we are going to read the last 2 chapters of the book. Chapter 9, Healthy Self-Retrocognitions, and Chapter 10, A Notion Regarding the Self-Maxi Mechanism. So you guys are going to read that. And obviously, any questions we are going to discuss. Second, we are going to do a research in terms of healthy self-retrocognitions. What you're going to do is, throughout the weeks, I guess we have 2 weeks, right? You guys are going to select 2 or 3 regions or countries or cultures that draw your attention, that for some reason you think it's interesting, you're curious. It doesn't really matter which culture or country is, okay? And you're going to do some research on these places, okay? Cultures, countries, areas, regions, whatever. And make your notes about this, just to have some knowledge about that culture that you didn't have before, just to have more knowledge, okay? You might have any kind of curiosity that you want to find out. Then you might think about one region that has to do with that one you started researching, so go there and you just do some research, okay? Make your notes if you have any sensations, insights, energetic sensations, experiences, or anything like that. And you are going to do one lab. What you're going to do, a 30-minute immersion on self-retrocognition. What you're going to do in this moment. You are going to lie down or sit down on a comfortable chair, work with your energies, clear your mind, relax, and that's it. Don't think about anything else, okay? Don't try not to command the show, because this will be a work with the helpers, and the helpers might give you some ideas or inspirations or experiences that have to do with some previous life that you had, okay? And you just like relax for that time, see what kind of ideas, sensations, images. You'll sometimes listen, you're going to listen to something, some music, have like an image in front of you, or even a full retrocognition. If you have more time, like 1 hour to do this exercise, I would strongly recommend that you do it. But if you don't have it, 30 minutes will be a good experience as well. Okay? Have you got any questions? No questions?
Just about the first one, Tathiana, with the countries and regions. When you say do some research, are you, because you just listed like feelings and stuff, but are you suggesting like, I don't know, Russia, and then I just go on Wikipedia, I read some stuff. Is that what you mean? Like that sort of research to connect with the Holocene and yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Cool. All right, guys, we are done for today. Do you have any messages, team?
Yes, I'd like just to invite everyone who is to the next meeting that is going to be 25th November. And will be those 2 chapters, right? And also, I don't know if, because our time is a little bit over, but there is this, I would like to share and make the publicity. Do you think we can do today, Tim?
I think if people are happy to stay for a few more minutes, if you have to go, you have to go. But if you have a few more minutes, then as you can see from that picture, this is the picture that's behind me as well. This is in Adelaide, Australia. We're having the first Australasian Pacific Conference on Paraurbanology and Serenology. And everybody's invited. Anybody who has a kind of sense of connection with those topics, with this region, the Australasian Pacific region, and who can make it, we would encourage you to feel into that, right, and see how it lines up with your life priorities. And if there is any kind of call, highly encourage you to take the step. So we'll have 3 days of kind of conference style presentations. There'll be debates, and there'll be parapsychic dynamics. And I guess the vision certainly that I have, and I think that we all have here as a team, is that it will bring together a group of us, intermissivists, people who've got some connection with this region, and that it will be a space for, let's say, incubating new stages in our existential program and in our contribution to these areas. So there'll be, right, it's a big thing coming to Australia. So we're currently preparing information to help people, plan their trip, understand what's involved, provide some advice on accommodation. We're happy to answer any questions about that. And we're also organizing some activities before and after the event, so that for people who are coming from a long way, they can make the most of coming to this beautiful part of the world. Yeah.
We hope you guys can send your papers with your experiences.
Yes, okay. So see you again. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tathiana.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. See you soon. Still this month.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
There you go.